span generations. As we embark on this journey of exploration, let us remember the words of Andrew Carnegie. No man will make a great leader who wants to do it all himself or gets all the credit for doing it. Succession planning embodies this very essence, recognizes that the torch must be passed on to eliminate the new paths and horizons. In the modern age where innovation and tradition coexist, the challenges faced by family businesses are dynamic and complex. Balancing heritage with innovation requires a delicate touch. As we delve into the intricacies of preparing the next generation, we must embrace the notion that communication is the bedrock of harmony. In the journey, as we acknowledge that many challenges may arise, it is whether legal or financial, these challenges can be met head-on by learning from experiences shared by those who have transferred similar paths. In the words of John Rockefeller, they resonate. Don't be afraid to give up the good to go for the great. Together, we explore the great possibilities that await those who dare to embrace the transformative power of succession planning. Before I conclude, I would also like to bring your attention to the highly renowned Babson Family Business Program, a beacon of expertise and knowledge in the realm of family businesses. This program is brought in India for the first time by NextGen Innovate, ASM, and Della Leaders Club, is rooted in principles of entrepreneurship and has been instrumental in guiding countless businesses through their challenges and success journeys. Its legacy of nurturing and empowering family businesses in the ever-changing landscape is a testament to its commitment to excellence. And now, it's my pleasant privilege and honor to introduce the keynote speaker of today, Animesh Jain. He is a very renowned family business consultant, ex-chairman of MP State Council CII, CEO of RM Chemicals Southeast Asia. Mr. Jain is certified by EO, Global Speaker Academy, and is a fourth-generation business leader with a rich legacy spanning 120 years in South Asia and Southeast Asia. His expertise lies in nurturing family businesses, driving growth, fostering innovation across manufacturing, distribution, and B2C sales. Formerly with Asian Paints and Tech Mahindra, Mr. Animesh embarked on a journey a decade ago to modernize and ensure longevity of his family's conglomerate. He shares his insights on family business continuity, generation integration, and professionalizing family enterprises through various workshops at prestigious platforms such as the CII, FBN, and EO. His commitment extends beyond business, and he actively participates in industry association, holds significant roles, including the chairman of the CII Madhya Pradesh, and contributing to association boards. Mr. Animesh, we are absolutely delighted and happy to have such an eminent personality to be part of the first series. I think you're just an apt person to start it. And I once again, a heartfelt welcome to every one of you. Thank you so much. Over to you, Animesh.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Sandeepji, for the introduction. Before we begin, I will just share a QR code. If you guys can just scan it and fill in the 3 top things that come to your mind in terms of your concerns about family business. And it would be great to see what people respond with as I move ahead. And then you guys can scan this code, go to the link, and just fill in the 3 top things that comes to your mind as concerns, so that I have a slight idea as to where we are heading. So I joined this family business, a 100-plus-year-old family business, after a successful stint with a leading IT company. And in November of 2009, I was actually thinking, why the hell did I do that? I was happy with a corporate role, as a lot of people are, and are running away from business. And I was sitting with my father in his office saying how things are not working out. And that was a very heated discussion. I hit the table hard, breaking the glass top and having around 64 stitches. The mark stays with me for now. Also, I actually had stitches in my hand. And I walked out with a poise that I'm not going to come back to this business. And I said, chuck it, I'll go. I went out for my master's, and I said, I'll work in the corporate. It's an easier life. And then I joined corporate India. I worked with Asian Paints, and I saw how family businesses professionalize things. So Asian Paints is also like a family business, which has become so professional. And I realized if somebody else can do it, why not us? And then I came back to the family business with a resolution that we will make sure that we reach that level and continue the legacy. Same room, different table. October of 2014, I talked to my father and how we should go ahead and ensure continuity of legacy for our business. In the next 5 years, we worked with multiple professionals, consultants, spent a lot of money on understanding how things are done. We got assessments done for family members, which is new, which a lot of people don't do. We get a professionals assessed through agencies. We ended up assessing all the 9 family members who were actively or not actively involved in the family business to see, are they fitting to be a part of the business or to be a part of the business in the current role they are in. And all of this gave us a lot of insights. And I believe that every family business can make this transition and grow wealth for all active and non-active family members while making sure that the business legacy will continue for many more generations to come. And why I say active and non-active, you will understand as I move ahead on this discussion. So before we move ahead, I will just again share my screen for a brief moment to show you what are the major concern areas that all of you guys have shared. So the major concern areas that have come up is differences, professionalization, communication, common conflict, in-source, internal conflict, succession, inter-family challenges, planning, fitness, non-tech savviness. So all of this combined, at the heart of it, this is what it is. This is what actually comes out as the major issues when we talk about family business continuity and legacy creation. So in the next 20 odd minutes, I will talk about 3 most important steps on how to make sure that all the hard work you and your family has put in creating a legacy does not end with you or your generation. So all of you, I'm going to talk about how to integrate the next generation. The second thing I'll talk about is how to cut the slack. And when I say cut the slack, I mean the slack of family members in the business. How to provide an agreeable and a graceful exit to non-contributing family members who are involved in the family business. And the third thing that I'll be talking about is how to make a winning team, a combination of family members and professionals coming together. And while doing all of this, how to make the transition from being a family business to being a business family. And mind you, just an interchange of words, but it makes a lot of difference how you look at things. A family business and a business family are 2 different things altogether. So let's talk about onboarding and integrating the next generation of family business in family business. When we are talking about family business continuity, next generation integration is so pivotal to the equation of legacy creation. Generally, most of us look at this exercise from a single lens, and that is the lens of leadership succession. Today, I would like to tell you guys that succession, especially in case of family businesses, does not only mean leadership succession. but it also should be looked at from the perspective of ownership succession. That is how you can actually cut the complexity if there are multiple members in the next generation, or even if you have only one next generation member, you can create an open space for discussion with the next generation member while making sure that the next generation feels welcome and has clarity on what lies ahead of them. Kyunki, end of the day, I hope everybody understands Hindi. End of the day, story is about kal, aaj aur kal. Kal jo beet gaya, aaj jismein hum जी रहे हैं, और कल जो आने वाला है. So we need to understand the story is just about kal, aaj aur kal always. The past, the present, and the future. And that's what we need to balance while making our progress ahead. So generally, when we talk to anybody about next generation integration, everybody would come out and say, oh, you need to have a very well laid out training and onboarding plan. You need to have a growth plan in place about the family member who's about to join in. And yes, that's very important. But nobody talks about having an exit path for the family member or for the next generation wanting to come into the family business. A lot of times, we do not even think about what are we going to pay them. Are they going to be benchmarked like professionals in the organization, or are they going to be the young ones and we don't care about it? So these two aspects, when it comes about next generation integration, become very, very important. And a lot of you would be thinking that at one point I'm talking about legacy in family business, longevity of family business, and I'm talking about having exit plan for the next generation. That goes back to the concept of ownership succession versus leadership succession. Then generation after that can decide to be leadership successors as well. But you should and you have to compulsorily talk about exit plan. Why it is important? Because the person in the next generation should not feel that they are trapped if they commit. Or if they say yes today, they will be trapped forever in the role they are saying yes. So it is very, very important to talk about this aspect as well. So what is very important is that the family member coming in understands the expectations that they have, that you have from them. Something which is also very important is they know the story of your business. A lot of times, we fail to tell the story of our business to the next generation. We fail to tell them how it began, what made you get there where you are, and what you have in mind for future. What values have driven you? What is the culture that you have wanted to build? हम क्या करते हैं? No, you have to come on board and you have to grow the business. अरे भाई इसके पीछे क्या है? What is the foundation of the business? A lot of us fail to talk about it. And that is so very important. And that is why if you are a first generation, second generation, third, fourth, any generation, and if you have not documented the history of your family business, I would advise you that you should start doing it today. Document whatever you come across. Create a set of photographs. Create a small online book, a blog, whatever you can do, so that your next generation knows the hard work, sweat, and blood that has gone into making what they see as something that is just there. Discuss with them and talk to them about being a part of the business that they are doing. They should take this journey for the right reasons. Give them time to evaluate what they expect from life in next 1, 2, 5, and even 10 years. A lot of times, the next generation comes in at an early age. They might be entering the business at the age of 21. They don't even know what they would be doing at 31. Are you giving them time to think about it? That what they want to do after 10 years? Maybe not. But when you are talking about integrating them, integration has to happen with a very long-term horizon. So you need to ask them what are their goals for, and those goals will change. It is not necessarily the goals will remain the same. Discuss with them the realities of the business. They might be seeing you as a person who's a successful and a very well-known person in different circles, who's traveling all over the world or meeting new people, exploring new places. But are they really aware what goes on during those travels or high-end dinners or luncheons that you host from time to time, and how they are so very important for business? Make sure that they understand what your business is. Make sure they know what they're signing up for, and make sure they know the story of the business. One more very important aspect is to evaluate that the next generation has the required qualifications for the business. And when I'm talking about qualifications, I'm not limiting this only to educational qualifications, but also practical qualifications and understanding the required for them to be a contributing member in the business in the short term and the long term. In case there are gaps, chart out a plan how they will develop these qualifications for growth. Who would mentor them for different roles? Whether the mentor will come from inside the existing business, the family, or there would be external resources that you will tap into. While selecting resources, ensure that they understand not only the business requirements, but also the value system that drives the business. It is very, very important that the value system and the culture is understood. I can give you an example. In our case, we actually used a firm called Conferry to do competency assessments for all of us, barring my father. My father was the senior most at that point of time. He's no longer with us. But barring my father, every other family member involved or wanting to be involved was evaluated by them. Now, this complete plan for boarding should be time bound. It should not be an open plate. Oh, you can take how much ever time you want. But you should set plans for them, what is expected to be achieved in a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and so on and so forth. And then you can sit down again at the end of every year, at the achievement of every milestone, and decide how the next milestone would be there. Do they need to change their path? And also discuss with them if they want to exit in 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, and even 24 months from the day they join the business. They can always choose to transition out if at any stage they feel they don't belong. But it has to be a very systematic approach towards that. Just to reiterate on the integration of the next generation, I'll say, set expectations from day zero. Set a path for growth and learning to define exit path, just in case they do not feel that they belong where they have come. And most important that I did not talk about is document this process and give the next generation members some time to go through it. Just don't make it verbal. Make it like a board meeting discussion. Document it. Give that document to your next generation for time to think, ask questions, clear doubts before they come on board. Moving on to the second point that I talked about is cutting the slack. So cutting the slack is very important. It is about allowing non-committed or non-performing family members have an agreed and a graceful exit from business. It is very important to understand that family members, if not adding value to the business in the short term or the long term, or not adding any value for the long-term goals of the business or the short-term goals of the business, they are like the energy vampires who are either slowing down the growth of business or becoming a big hurdle in the longevity and growth of business. And I understand, coming from a big family relationships are very sensitive and need to be handled with utmost care and prudence. When someone from a family has been active in business, we should ensure that they are given agreeable. The key word is agreeable, and the other keyword is graceful exit path, and not a snap exit, as this will ensure family relations do not get tarnished due to this activity. If you do not do it now, so what will happen? You will say, okay, the person is not performing, not active. कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, इतने सारे लोग हैं. But what you need to understand that you are adding more non-productive days to the business and creating more tensions and frictions within the family without even realizing that one day you will have somebody with maybe 64 stitches on the ground. So the first step is make a mental list of family members who are acting as the energy vampires and need to be cut out to ensure that business longevity does not suffer. Professionals working in the business do not suffer. And it is not necessary that if they are not contributing, they don't want to contribute to the business, but maybe they miss the proper alignment or the practical qualification or practical training They might have been relevant or value-adding members in the past, but current or future needs of the business are very different and they are not aligned to the same. Once you have identified them, the most important thing to do is to create a safe space where they do not feel cornered, but feel connected to the long-term goals of the business. End of the day, their potential to earn more dividends from the business is directly linked to the overall growth of the business. But making a list and conveying a list is not your job. You have to just make a list. I say you should take professional help. We heard about institutes like Babson's and the Family Business Forum and other things when Sandeep was talking about it. You should take help from professionals, and these professionals should come in and evaluate the family members and create a path and see whether they are a role fit or not. Every person should get individual feedbacks based on their assessments, and they should not be shared with other family members or professionals in the business, because that is the key in making sure that it's a graceful exit. Because if something is shared, then it might hinder the concept of graceful exits. This and third and the most important is creation of the safe space for discussions to happen. Creating a safe space mostly requires professionals or external intervention. Bring in a professional or a family well-wisher who has been respected by all and should not be perceived as being biased towards anyone in the business. I see a lot of Indian families have chartered accountants who have been with you guys for very long, or that financial consultant who knows everybody in the family and everybody trusts them. Or maybe it can even be your B2B client or your who is very respected, a senior client or a senior customer of your business, who is very respected by every family member who's involved in business. You can use these people to come on board, create a safe space and discuss these aspects. In case members unaligned to the requirements of the business and would not be amenable to any kind of coaching or mentoring as well, the best way is for this external facilitator or the trusted person to sit down and do this discussion with them one-on-one and how they can exit gracefully. What happens? Why people don't want to exit is a question that comes to my mind. And all of you say, if I am that person who has to do that exit, the biggest hurdle in doing the exit is the social trauma. They do not want to exit because of multiple social and business circle issues that surround it. The question that looms in their mind is generally, what would I do if I am not an active part of the business? What will my family, my friends think about me once I'm out of business? What will people in the extended circle think? Was I thrown out of the role? How would I know what is going to happen in business, etc.? There are multiple things that come to mind. And these questions, if not handled well, can result in friction and splits within members and within the family. Thus, once the family member has understood that they are not completely relevant to the current or future business requirements, we need to create a structured way for the transition into a non-executive role. There are multiple ways you can do this. You can create a family board, you can create a supervisory board, and these members can become decision-making parts, or they can have a voting right in the supervisory board and the family or the family board. There are multiple ways that we can do that. Create titles like Director of Supervisory Board. Create titles like Chief Cultural Officer, Chief Values Officer. Depending on the things or depending on the number of people, we can definitely work out how these can be done. Everybody nowadays has a CSR wing. Give these people who are exiting the executive roles a more prominent role in the CSR wing of the family, because this helps them to maintain that social status and cut the stigma of coming out of the executive role of the family business. What needs to be understood well in this complete cycle is generally there is more than the personal stigma, it's the social stigma. And I can talk about a lot about this, but I would love to take questions later on. So I'll move on to the next part. And that is creating
I will take the questions during moderation, Animesh. No problem.
Yes, yes. No, no, I'm saying that's why I'll not talk more about this and would like to handle this in form of questions. So the next thing that I'll talk about, the last thing that I'll talk about before we move to Q&A, is creating a winning team, which is a combination of family members and professionals working together. Sandeep ji did quote a few people, and now I would also like to quote somebody here. So I'll quote Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs had once said that great things in business are never done by one person. They are done by a team of people. So it is very, very important to understand that it's a team of people that makes things happen. A business team is just like a basketball team. I played basketball in my school and college days, so I'm talking about basketball team, which is not always about making a team of superstars who are great at taking shots, but about creating a team which consists of some people who can shoot well, some who can assist the shoot, and a few who can take rebounds or play defense in crucial moments. Similarly, a major step towards creating a lasting legacy in business is to create that winning team with family members and professionals who complement each other. The journey cannot be accomplished overnight and requires a lot of planning and execution. It is not just about hiring best talent, but hiring the right talent, which does not dilute the basics of the business as it moves into a new trajectory. Most of the times, families fail to bring professionals in senior roles who work alongside with family members. That is what needs to change. A family business, for a business to go beyond or last for many generations to come. Just to give you an example, I personally report to a non-family member for my executive role. So I report to a professional in my business. I'm not reporting to a family member in my business. And then eventually I wear two hats. I wear the hat of a executive role, and when I'm sitting as a part of a mancom, I would wear the hat of a owner of the business or a director of the business. So we need to bring this maturity when we are talking about creating a winning team in any kind of a scenario in a family business. We also need to make sure that professionals being brought in are aligned and are aware of the value system on which the family business has been built. If you fail to do this, there would always be conflict in high pressure situations. That is where value alignment becomes so important, because in high pressure situations, the professional needs to understand where the family executive is coming from or where the patron is coming from in taking that decision. I'll give you a very small example. We are Jains and we pride ourselves in being Jains. We are very religious as well, to an extent that even till date in our houses, we don't get onions and garlic in our kitchens. So there was a call for a business that we had to take. And that call was about getting into a business which had a very small component of foods which were not aligned to Jain rituals coming into our manufacturing process. This is outside of India. It was either shut down operations completely, which we had built up over 20 years, or take a leap. So what we did, we decided that we'll continue that business because we employ around 350 people there. And the path that we took was we do not take a single penny of profit from that business. We do not book salaries for any family member from that business. All the profitability, post reinvestments required for the business go for CSR. So we were at a dilemma stage. A professional might not have thought about it, but we were at a state where it was challenging our value system, and we took that call. And it's a decently big amount. We decided we will not go with it. We will continue business and we don't take a single penny. Even at travel, we don't book with those guys as of now, with that business as well. So all these things are very important. And that's why value system alignment becomes very important. The complete system needs to be very well defined. Layers need to be made, where everyone gets a chance to put forward and represent what they are looking for. Okay, so, and what is very important to understand is the professionals and the executive family members in senior leadership role should not be contradicting each other's role. They should not be at a point where both of them are at the same position, both of them have to make a decision for the same thing to happen. We should always make sure that this contradiction should be removed from the system. People should have standalone roles. And yes, consultative management committee should be made, which, if it's a tough call, needs to come together. And if it's a bigger call, that needs to go to family board. And that's where the people who have decided to take non-executive roles can be there. So this is it from my side. What I would like to say that a lot of people, I work with a few families, they always ask me, Animesh, can you help me, my business to have a lasting legacy? And my answer is, yes, every business has the potential to be a legacy business. Whether you are a startup or a 50 or a 100-year-old business, you can pave a part towards creating a lasting business legacy. Wherever you are in your journey towards creating a lasting family business, there is a lot of detailing which goes into making this journey. And if you are looking to take this journey, definitely there's a lot of help out there. You just need to look for it. And yes, you can leave a lasting legacy, which you can pass on to your next generation by avoiding mistakes that create division. And yes, you can have a lasting legacy in business always. Thank you, and I hope I've added value to all of you.
Certainly, Animesh, in fact, I am a first generation entrepreneur myself, but throughout my life, while working with clients, I have come across all different generations, and I have actually observed carefully the kind of challenges, issues which emerges, in those organizations, and you can sometimes very well see what's limiting them. The growth which otherwise is at the corner, I think is sometimes not being seen. What you highlighted is very critical when you talked about creating winning teams, which is a good combination of both family members and professionals together. I think a lot of times family businesses typically miss it. And in fact, that's where the entrepreneurial family mindset need to come in, I believe. I've seen both sides, businesses which are actually, grown to a size and are now actually struggling to grow further because the family involvement in the business at all key touch points is actually becoming management heavy, and they don't typically allow each other to kind of take the right decisions. So that becomes a very difficult situation. And in fact, for professionals, when they are not empowered enough, then it becomes very handicapped situation there as well. So thank you once again. I think this was very, very enlightening. Let me take some questions, which I think we have from the audience here. I believe all the audience will benefit from the narrative that you gave. In fact, some of the insights were very practical because they're coming right from your old legacy business, which you have actually built, and now you're carrying it forward. In fact, so we have a question from Miss Mona Thengil. She's checking with you about the key elements of a successful succession plan. What's your view on that?
So, Mona ji, what I'll say, the key elements of successful succession plan is, as I talked about, two kinds of succession, leadership and ownership. The first key element is to understand, is the next generation willing to take a leadership succession role or not? We should not try to force fit them into a leadership succession role. And that is the most important step. The other important step is having a very well charted out plan with possible exit routes for the generation to come in. As I was talking about, I think I gave a big monologue, but in that monologue, I did talk about the concept of providing them exit opportunities, having exit policy even for family members in the business, and a re-entry policy as well. Because what happens is, sometimes, say for example, somebody might be in a business of, say, making aluminum forgings, The next generation is not interested in that. But they have come into it, they want to understand the business. So one is they want to understand, they were willing to be a part of the business, but they did not like the business. So are you giving them an exit opportunity? By exit, I don't mean exit from business. It can be either exit from business or exit and start something new, which they like. A lot of times we are so focused on the existing business that we do not think out of the box. And when the next generation brings in an idea, it is shot down. So what is the best way of doing it? The best way of funding new ideas is you should start creating a corpus from within your existing business. Depending on the size of your business, depending on the funds that your business generates, that corpus can be, say, 10% of your profitability every year. And that can be your risk appetite. And your next generation should be given access to that risk or that fund to experiment with proper guidance. I hope I have given you some insight. I'll share my email ID. You can, Monaj, you can write me this question, and I would be more than happy to give you a more detailed, written down answer for this as well.
No, I think rightly said, succession planning stages can be planned in many different ways in different scenarios. In fact, I think it's more scenario driven. A lot of time,
yes,
you can bring science to it. You can do better documentations. You can actually put right kind of empowerments, skill orientation, etc. Within the family roles, within entrepreneurial.
There are multiple aspects. So there is willingness and there is fit.
Correct.
So willingness can be there, but the person might not fit the role.
Correct.
So what can you do to make the person fit the role? Mentoring, coaching, education. True. So there are multiple aspects. And when I discuss with a few families that I've worked with, when I discuss with them, so it becomes very case specific.
True.
There is not one more fits all.
Cannot be. Yes. Then I think let's move to the next one. So I have Mr. Amar Rathore checking with us about the common conflicts in succession planning and its methods for resolution. What's your take on that?
So some of the common conflicts are vision mismatch. Yeah. Oh, you are growing too slow. I want to be very fast. I don't want to do this business. Oh my God, you are working 16 hours for 7 days. You don't even have a Sunday. I don't want to be in a scenario which is so stressful. So I'm trying to, this is what comes out. So the methods for resolution are, the first thing is to talk about it and understand how the successor wants to come into it. What is it that they want to do? The first step is talking and understanding their requirements and understanding what they do not like about how things are handled right now. So some of them might be negotiable, some are non-negotiable. And then the negotiables should be talked about. Like I said, hey, Pitaji, Papa, you are working like 18 hours a day, you sleep only 6 hours. You have made an office in the house as well. I don't want to work like that. So my office gets over in office. So you have to come up with what is negotiable aspect of business, what is non-negotiable aspect of work. And that is where a common ground needs to be achieved. And that is how you will take these steps towards resolution. And in case it does not work, it is always great to have outside help. And that outside help, I don't mean get a professional. Get a family friend who's respected by your next generation. And I'm telling you, दिल में वो सब आपको बहुत respect करते हैं. आपके सामने बोल नहीं पाएंगे भाई. They cannot say it out to your mouth because that's ego. So you have to bring in that trusted family friend who they trust, who they can open up to. And then that friend can help you integrate things.
In fact, what you said, I agree totally. But some of the times, to my mind, I've seen bringing external expertise to validate the thought process becomes equally, critical. That's when actually you can, establish the facts, and you are able to then align people's mind at times when you show them the fact sheet, the kind of, trends in the industry. And when the authority comes and talks about it, beyond the family friend, I'm just, contemplating
Yes,
on that.
it can be expert or family friend.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if it is about industry knowledge, then an expert. If it is about pure
Family dynamics.
yes, family dynamics, then a family friend plays a very important role.
I understand. So I have the next one coming in from Mr. Parul Sood. He wants to know, how do we bridge gap between two generations in terms of technology dependency or advancement, basically the orthodox mindset?
So at times, if you have to move forward, the first thing you have to do is take a step back. And when I say that, what I mean, technology is changing so fast. Just imagine your previous generation who's maybe at 65 or maybe in late 60s, early 60s, early 70s. Just imagine for them to understand the advantage of it is very difficult just by the word of it. So what you need to do, you need to bring in, and I'm telling you, the way it is for the next generation, they don't want to take defeat. It's the same for the previous generation. They don't want to be shown down by somebody else. And that's a very big mistake a lot of people do. I remember I was talking to a family in India, and they were like, our father does not understand. And the third generation was also in, who had studied in the US and has come in. I know Dadaji does not want to understand. Why does he not step out? He wants to be an authority. So when I sat down with the senior guy, he was like, how can I? I have built it all from scratch. There is so much pride. And when people are pointing fingers, you're pointing fingers not at the person, but at the pride of the person.
True.
And that is what we fail to understand.
True.
So you need to take a step back. You need to understand from them. You need to ask them why you don't want to do it. They will never say, because I don't understand it. And most of the time, that is the answer we want to hear. So create a scenario where you say, oh, have you tried this? Give them the easiest thing out of that technology.
True.
To come out. So that orthodox mindset is more because of the non-willingness to accept that I do not understand it. So give them the easiest scenario of how this works, how this technology works. It can be an ERP implementation, it can be online accountancy, it can be multiple things. Yeah.
I think in one of the cases that I observed, in fact, I'm part of a group where there are more than 4 family businesses are there. In fact, they were quoting this. In fact, the father was not willing to allow, a lot of technology uses. So how the new generation guy actually, utilized one of the tools in his project and showed the elimination, not exactly the manpower elimination, but the efficiency,
savings,
enhancement. And so then the belief fallen in place. So I think everywhere it's about the confidence. It's also about shaking their belief system in the right manner, allows easy acceptance. Otherwise, they will always believe that what they've done is the best, in fact, and why would they change actually? So let's move to the next, and Vaishali wishes to ask you that how do you plan to pass the leadership and ownership of the business to the next generation? Yeah, I think that's an interesting.
I think there are 2 parts to the question, and what criteria one should be using to select next family member to lead the business.
That's a big one.
That's a big one. Okay. Yeah. Definitely it's not the eldest one. Huh? just to clarify that age and time has gone, that it is the eldest one. So how do you plan to pass leadership and ownership of the business to the next generation? So the idea is, for me, if you ask me personally, how I want to do it, I want my kids, I've got 2 daughters, I want them to be very active in business when they grow up. I want them to know the business first. So whenever there's a possibility, I bring them to the factories. They should see the factories. Or they should see what my wife does at times in office as well. So the first is they should understand what is there in business. And I talked about assessments. So I will give you an example. Why assessments are so important. भाई हम जब प्रोफेशनल को हायर करते हैं तब भी उसका इंटरव्यू तो करते हैं ना, देखते हैं ना कि वो रोल फिट है या नहीं है. लेकिन फैमिली मेंबर के साथ इट बिकम्स ट्रिकी. So an external assessment helps a lot. Like I was talking about, we used a firm called Conferry. Conferry does very good competency assessments. They do it for professionals. I think we were their first client who was asking them to do it for family members. So this assessment gives you, like, my assessment gave me what are my weak areas and how I can improve upon them. So I did some courses, coaching, mentorship. So you have to build a path of transition through proper coaching and mentorship for those roles. It should not be you are the eldest one, you are the leader, you take the baton. But it has to be a systemized process where they learn from the bottom, and they learn this not necessarily from the bottom. I'm not saying that a person should go and start picking up sacks in your business, but a person should start from a supervisory kind of a level and understand, and it can be a very fast track thing, but they should know all the things about business. And then they would be able to take very proper decisions when they become leaders.
I think even if you look at the Rishabh Premji's case, where Ajim Premji Sahab actually let him work in certain departments where he expected him to get groomed to the top role. I think that was quite a systematic way to prepare the next generation to then represent the board, actually, or rather lead the board, in fact, at a later date.
So I can share from my experience what I've seen with the Asian Paints families. There are 3 families, but just imagine the next generation does not start like anything else. The next generation actually starts with executive trainees and management trainees.
True.
Based on the college, based on the college they come from.
Yeah.
Like when I joined there as an MT, I had a family member, I would not like to name, but who also joined as an MT along with us.
True.
So that's the growth path these guys create.
I think the more systematic you make it, the more successful you will be. Yes. The next one I have is from Dr. Shakti Marhata. He's wanting to know how to manage the work-life balance in family business. Though you touched upon it, but I think you can once again.
I will just let me see if I have something to show there. Just give me a second. But
take your time.
What you need to understand is a lot of times we do not bring the successes of the business home. And what I mean to say is, जब मूड खराब होता है, कोई बड़ी बिजनेस डील छूट जाती है, तो हम उतरा हुआ चेहरा तो घर लाते हैं. लेकिन are we bringing celebrations of business home?
Yeah.
So the family needs to see you celebrate as well. So that is one step towards bringing that work-life balance. And the other thing that I would say, Dr. Shakti, is work-life balance is a myth. And I'll be very frank and blunt about it. It's a very Western concept, to be very frank, for an Eastern society that we are from. But yes, when you are with family, you have to make sure you are with family. So just to give you an example, like I'm doing this session, I'm still in office. Why? Because after I reach home, I don't open my laptop.
I think that's the way it should be. A lot of people need to build discipline.
You have to build that discipline of not bringing work home till it is very important. There might be something which is very important that you need to bring home, but you should only bring it home if it is super important. And the second part, bring the successes home. celebrate the successes with your family. That is something which is very, very, very important.
I think I can keep on, and this discussion can continue. We have one feedback from Mr. Deepak Gupta. He's wanting to add, in fact, that we need to establish clear accountabilities while
Yes.
such negotiations are being done. I think this is in response to the earlier question.
Yes,
So,
yes.
that being said, let me thank you, Animesh, for your time. It was very, very insightful, and we are honored to have you with us. As this is our first maiden effort toward empowering the family businesses. We have now Mr. Krish Shah, who is waiting, uh, on the line to move in his conversation. But before that, I think I would like to touch upon, the BEPSIN program, the BEPSIN Family Entrepreneurial Program. So, as you might have noticed, audience, Babson College is stepping in India for the first time with its executive program. So let me share my screen with you all. Just give me a moment. So while Animesh talked a lot about it already, I'll take some key points here before I move to Mr. Krish. So in fact, what is surprising, if you notice in the world out there right now, India has upward of 63% of GDP coming in from the family businesses. And ISB report further says that 90% of the workforce is actually employed by the family businesses in India. I think that's a number. And if you go by this, what needs to be worried about is the fact that only 13% of family businesses survive till the third generation, and less than 5% make it to the fourth generation. So why is this happening? While Animesh has already touched upon almost all of these critical aspects, important is for family business to learn and understand that how to deal with it. Now, the problem of transiting between generation is one of the things. How to handle the difficult conversation is the second important thing. Reluctance to bring in the teams and then creating the winning teams, I think, is a very, very critical aspect. Lack of succession planning, where we actually heard a lot of insights today, and how exactly the vision can actually be transformed and carried forward by the next generation. There is a lot more to this. I believe Krish, in his narrative, will talk about the impact he had while he attended the BEPSIN program himself. So I'm waiting to hear from him. Let me inform that for the first time in India, we are hosting a program which is going to be unique in partnership with BEPSIN, which is globally number one for last 30 years in the field of entrepreneurship. So BEPSIN College is the leader and the authority in the area of entrepreneurship. And we are proud to have, this association where we will be hosting this program in month of October, where we are going to touch upon almost all important aspects of family businesses and the areas which are critical for the future success. The impact is expected that you are not only going to make new friends with other participants, but I think there is a lot to learn from the ETA methodology of this of BEPSIN, which is the entrepreneurial thought in action. The ETA methodology allows you to think and rethink the business. It allows you to actually come up with new ideas and innovate within the business. And that's the emphasis which the authority, Professor Matt Allen, is going to bring to India. This is going to be his, physical delivery, and he's going to be supported by Eric Noyes, Professor Eric Noyes, and Professor Dana Greenberg online. Matt Allen also has joined recently the Kellogg program. So let me, I'm not able to see it right now. So Professor Allen recently accepted a position in the Kellogg School of Management as well. So he's one of the most known authority in the area of family business entrepreneurship. And we are very proud to have him here with us in India while he's going to host the program. And apart from him, we have a lot of the authorities joining the program. So this is going to be a mix of academic deliveries and then a lot of practical aspects, that are going to be discussed. And experts from all over the world are actually joining, the program in different capacities. You can expect uh, not only to strengthen the bond with your new generation who's going to attend this program, because this is going to be one unique program where two generations are going to learn together. We are talking about a father and a daughter. We are talking about uncle and any other member in the family. So any combination within two different generations, I think makes a good fit for this program. The idea is to have you gaining insights into successful family business models, acquiring practical tools for effective succession planning, building a network of like-minded people, enhancing the organizational development skills. And then last but not the least, we are expecting to host fireside chat session, power packed workshops, a lot of networking activities, and it's at a beautiful Dela leadership headquarters at Lonavala, the Dela Resorts, which is a very popular destination. That being said, I invite you all to inquire for the Babson College Family Entrepreneurship Program, which is supposed to be hosting between 20th and 23rd October 2023 at Dela Resorts, Lonavala. But before I actually, invite you further to inquire, let us hear the experience from Mr. Krish Shah. Let me introduce Mr. Krish Shah to you all. So Mr. Krish Shah is the director of Urvashi Paper, IIP Papers in Surat. Krish Shah is the driving force behind this three generations, run business in the paper recycling and manufacturing industry, spanning over 30 years. His fresh perspectives infuses renewed vitality in the family business. Obviously, the learning from the Babson program and various other courses that Mr. Krish Shah has actually gone through has allowed him to have hands-on involvement in business development and global expansion of the business. He has impacted the verticals like sales, marketing, and operations. Backed with his strategies, the business has actually grown manifold. His fervent dedication to growth extends to investing in emerging businesses, reflecting his unwavering passion for progress. Let me invite Mr. Krish Shah to talk about the impact of Babson program and his learnings from the Babson Family Entrepreneur Program. Over to you, Mr. Krish.
Hi, everyone. Firstly, Mr. Rahul, thank you so much for the wonderful introduction. And thank you, Mr. Jain, for providing us with such insightful knowledge about, all the questions that were thrown your way. I'll introduce myself again. I'm Krish Shah. I am the third generation in a paper manufacturing business that was started by my grandfather in 1980. I joined the business after studying abroad. I went for my undergrad. I did my engineering in Pennsylvania up until 2017, and then I joined the family business. I spent 4 years there, and I encountered multiple issues in terms of communication, in terms of how do I really make a place for myself? This is a company that has been running perfectly fine without me for so many years. What can I do? Most of my friends were working, entry-level jobs, and they were working consulting and busy hours. And there I found myself, like, what am I really doing here? No one listens to me. I'm not really I don't know anything. And as Mr. Animesh said, that I had many ideas that we should have a website, or like we should have a social media presence, or search engine optimization. These things were obviously put down. And as you said very clearly, it's because I didn't know how to communicate the pros of these, methodologies. In addition to that, I also had this idea that, we're manufacturing in India, but why should we only sell in India? And even that idea was not looked at very fondly, because everyone was comfortable in their comfort zone. And that's where the next part of my life started, right? So come pandemic, after spending 5 years in the business, I left for Babson to pursue my MBA. I specialized in entrepreneurship and in family business. So I had the pleasure and privilege of sitting in on all these classes with Professor Matt Allen and stuff. And here's the biggest insight for me, right? Like, we all think that, okay, it's our family, it's so different from other people's family. Like, how can we sit in a classroom and learn about, like, just it's not finance, it's not accounting, ki ek side se debit, दूसरे side se credit. It's not like that. But I was so surprised that everyone's problems are the same. Whether you're working in the stock market, in manufacturing, in food and beverage, all families have similar problems. Especially our new generation, we come extremely like infused with enthusiasm and ideas that we want to implement and bring about change, but we lack something. We lack communication. The kind of insights that I've been able to get from these professors who worked in this field for many, many years and seen so many families from different cultures and different backgrounds, they have this really well set handbook on how to deal with communication in family businesses. And to be honest, it's helped me come a long, long way. In fact, I'm sorry for the informal setting. I'm currently in Egypt, coming here to meet customers and trying to grow the operation in Egypt. And at this point, 8 years after my experiences, at this point, it's as simple as, hey guys, in the boardroom, I just tell the family that, hey guys, this is what I feel about Egypt as an emerging market. And this is my homework behind it. This is what I have done. I think there's promise here. And it's as simple as, okay, go on, go ahead. Because I feel like 8 years ago, if I had to have the same conversation, I would not be able to do it so strategically. But the insights that I have gained from going to Babson and spending, I think now 9 years in the family business, it has changed my relationship with my father in and out of the business. Even at home, we are a whole different equation now. And yeah, I would highly recommend anyone, because the main skepticism we would have about a family business program is, what do they know about my family? Like, how can they know? I live in India, they're in the US. Things in the US are different, things in India are different. Things in my family are so different from my friends. But there is a framework and there are guidelines that we can follow, which will not only improve our relationships and our progress and our business as a whole, but also us as personal human beings and ourselves personally with the family. So those are just my 2 cents. And of course, I'm not as experienced as Mr. Jain is. And I have just spent about 9 years in the real world. So I wouldn't know much more. He would be the person to like advise us all. But being part of a family business and being part of Babson, both of them are very close to my heart. And I can 100% recommend going ahead with this to improve your equations and further your progress. So thanks.
Thank you so much, Krish. In fact, you highlighted the very important aspect of the mind shift, the one that you achieved, and also the realization that the family problems are no different. In fact, across the breadth and the width of variety of industries that family businesses actually hold businesses in, I think the problem template remains the same. That being said, I think that's where also comes the Family Business Forum. So this program, the Babson Family Entrepreneurial Program, is our first, effort in order to empower the family businesses in India. And we are engaging, with various stakeholders, from all different sides of the, family business related aspects. So we expect to, have a variety of initiatives built around it. So few things which are already in works is we're going to have a lot of, thought leadership series. The one that you experienced today is going to continue for next 1 month. We are expecting to have 2 to 3 more sessions in, in consecutiveness. Apart from this, we also plan to host summits and conferences. We are working with experts to, create reports, knowledge, sessions, and a lot more that you can expect. Please do let us know what do you, wish to have from the Family Business Forum, because this is going to be your platform where you can actually, come and address the kind of challenges that you are currently facing in your business. One last and most important thing, we are working to produce emerging 1,500 family businesses in India list 2023. So we invite you to nominate your business for the same. Details are available, on the website. Messages are left in the chat box also, and you will get our direct messages on WhatsApp as well for you to actually take things forward. Once again, as our very next initiative is the Bepson Family Entrepreneurial Program and the top 1,500 emerging businesses in India. Please do join us. And that being said, let me thank everyone for their time today. This is our maiden effort, so we are going to build further on it. And we believe that this is a small contribution from our side, while family businesses in India continue to grow and continue to actually progress, leaps and bounds. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. Jai Hind.